For a lot of companies, if you just increase, please hear me, because everyone thinks, okay, increase my prices across the board by 20%. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just using an example. For a lot of clients, if they just increased all of their clients' prices by 20%, you would think, well, my profit would go up by 20%. Believe it or not, more often than not, it would double your profit, right? Because here's the deal. If I'm charging $1,000 for a client and it costs me $500 for the labor, right, to actually get it done, and it'd be another $200 or $300 for my overhead, right? I've got insurance, I've got training, I've got payroll, I've got whatever, software, all that other good marketing. There's $200-300 left. So if I raise the $1,000 price by 20%, that's $200. If my profit's $200, I just doubled it, right? And you might go, well, my clients will leave. They won't all leave. And here's the deal. Say half of them leave. Well, now you're making the same amount of profit doing half the work with the best top half of your clients. It's fantastic. So here's the deal. Most people come to me, it's so frustrating. When I ask them their goals, it's always revenue, right? It's always, I want to have $1 million company. And they sometimes aren't even making any money there, and they just assume what they say is I want $1 million company, but what they typically mean is I want to be rich. And they think if they had $1 million company, they would be rich. But the reality is $1 million companies go bankrupt, $1 billion companies go bankrupt every day. It's not a big deal. So most of the time, every time I've asked someone, they said, I want $1 million company, I go, cool, what's more important to you personally? Is it profit or is it revenue? 100%, well, 95% of the time, profit. So to them, they want profit, but their goals are based in revenue, right? So we want to make sure if you really want profit, let's start there. On that theme, people will come to me, they always want to double their business, whatever their business is. They think if they just double it, that's going to be the magic. But the reality is doubling the business is just doubling the headache, right? All the customers and payroll and rent, all that stuff is headache. The reason you would want to double it is typically they just want more profit, but for some reason they think it's weird or they shouldn't say it, or I don't know, we think it's bad, but I don't know why people do it. They just think it's gauche to say they want more profit. But if that's where you're at, if the goal is to double your profit, there's only two ways to do it. You can double your business, which takes a long time and a lot of risk, and you may not get there. But if you leverage your pricing properly, you can often double it. And pricing, and we're going to talk about like key numbers, but if you leverage your pricing and your overhead, sometimes you can double. Often, many of our clients can double their profits in a month or two, right? So just make sure you're really clear on what your goal is, and pricing has a big leverage in that. The problem is, raising prices is scary for people, so typically they don't do it, but they don't understand what a big lever it can be. They think, if I just raise prices, it'll have a small impact, whereas it has a global impact on the business. And we're talking about loving your business. Typically, fewer customers who pay more and value more, and the things that you spent a lot of money on, you tend to value. The things that were cheap or free, you tend not to value, right?